Hi everybody and welcome to the very first edition of tNB Gaming. This is a podcast for, well, anybody interested in gaming. Each episode will try and bring you some joys to be had from that world of gaming, be it new games, old games, retro games, and games you never even heard of, played, things you know about, things you don't know about. And with our esteemed panel of experts, and I use that word very, very loosely, we will try and obviously educate you and bring back some memories. My name is Russell, otherwise known as Retro Bear. We are four tonight YouTubers who all have our own channels, and we're here to talk to you about absolutely everything that comes up. So I'd just like to introduce everybody as we go through to start with. And I'd very much like to introduce our first guest, and that is a gentleman by the name of Pete Fighter 2.
Oh, me first?
Yep. Now, Pete is so good, he's named himself after himself.
I have,
and,
well, so's Nate.
Well, I know Nate has as well, but, you know...
Don't introduce me yet!
Who's that?
Nate's not here yet.
Who's tapped into this? Anyway, so, Pete, if you'd just like to give us a brief overlay of the sort of things that you enjoy doing in terms of gaming.
I'm kind of the modern gamer of the group, aren't I? I play, I collect anything from, I just picked up a Philips video pack that's from like 1978, but I play everything from there up to like the modern consoles, chiefly PS4 and Switch. And yeah, that's basically what I do. I just play games. I like to talk about games, and that's really what I signed up for. I just want to talk about games.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, well, that's what we're here for. So that's what we're here to do. And you are in the right place. Thank you very much for your attendance this evening. There will be a check in the post, I'm sure. Not from me. Right. Our next guest this evening, or today, or wherever you're listening to this from, it may be daytime, nighttime, middle of the day, wherever, lunchtime, when you're on the way home from work. Is a gentleman over on the east side of the country, here in the UK, and it's a very good evening to Nath Retro.
Good evening. How
good
are
evening,
you all?
Nath. I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm just going to have some whiskey and talk about games, so I'm probably happy.
Yeah, you're in the right place to do something like that. Nath, as with Pete, can you just give us a brief overlay of the sort of things that you enjoy in the world of gaming?
Yeah, so, the reason I started a YouTube channel up in the first place was to talk about and sort of celebrate the collecting I do. I do sort of many a car boot kind of pickup, and I've got a passion for it through that, really. Try and find games, go to my collection, easily influenced by other YouTubers, unfortunately, Retro Bear.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah, so this year I've been picking up some of the more interesting Wii games and some Sega games as well when I get a chance to play them. Which is basically never, but then again, you collect for the whole point of actually collecting sometimes, don't you?
Who actually plays the games they buy?
It gets time to play games when they're like making videos and doing podcasts.
I've told you before, it's cheap installation.
that is one thing, yes. I don't know what fiberglass costs, but technically they're compacted fiberglass to that level, aren't they?
That's it, yeah. Okay, lovely. Thank you very much indeed, sir. And our final guest this evening, or today, is somebody whose name I've never managed to get right, nor the name of his channel, and it seems to be very much a running joke amongst the YouTube community. So I'd very much like to bring in Cyril of Retro Games Reconstituted.
Cyril, I love that.
No, this is very much complete wrong. No, this is Sean over at Retro Games Revived. Hello, Sean.
Hello, mate.
How are you?
I'm good.
Right, and if you can, again, like everybody else, just give us a bit of an overlay as to your place in the world of gaming and such.
Yeah, well, I haven't got anything as hardcore as Nath, like whiskey. I've got a bit of Monster to keep me in tonight. But yeah,
gonna need something.
Exactly. I'm into a broad spectrum, to be honest, from the really old stuff, especially vintage consoles. I love my vintage consoles. Pete will appreciate that. Right up to modern day. Obviously, I've got all the generations of PlayStation, which is probably my forte, if you like. But yeah, broad spectrum across the board, really old ones, 8-bit particularly as well. So yeah.
Oh, lovely. Well, so we've got a huge sort of array of collections and systems from all sorts of walks of life represented here. In terms of myself, pretty much same as a lot of the guys, collecting right the way through from the Atari 2600 to, I've got a Switch, I've got a PS4, but I tend to sort of focus on the games, PS2, Wii, Xbox 360, but certainly been getting back into my retro stuff recently, and I've been probably recollecting about the last 10, 11 years or so now, so probably in the region somewhere around about 3,000 physical games, which is quite a lot. So, yeah. Somebody physically actually asked me that the other day, so I had to go and try and work out how many there were.
That's pretty impressive.
Did you actually count them all?
Oh, no, I've got a rough estimate because I've got the list of games on my phone, and then I thought, well, I know I've got those, and then I've got other ones. There's a Commodore 64 games, and there's the Amiga games, the Spectrum games, and the handheld games, which I haven't got listed down. I thought, well, that's as close as damn it anyway, so we'll go with 3,000 as a round figure.
Was it Scott Glory Hunter? I saw he did a video claiming he just got his 2,000th game. So
well, he's got a long way to go, hasn't he?
He's to put his finger out, that boy.
Yeah, 2,000 games. Oh, God.
I think I've got around 2,500, but I think only about 1,500 are like physical games.
Because you do collect, you do collect digital games, don't you? I think
I do. Well, I don't go out of my way to do it, but I used to sort of raid the Christmas sale on the PlayStation Store every year, and I had PlayStation Plus for a long time, so I kind of built up a bit of a digital library there. And then I've got like all the mini systems as well, which all have their own games on and everything, so I class them as digital releases. So yeah, but I think I've worked out I'm just under 1,600 physical games, which is, to be honest, more than I thought.
That's quite a lot.
It is surprising when you sit down and work it out, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what's your people's views on physical games and compared to downloads then? Because I always kind of wondered, like, across the board, what people kind of think of it. Because I'm always a bit like, I like to have something tangible and hard and something and go, look at this.
Say what's that?
Yeah. So that's what she said?
Keep it clean.
Prehensile. Yeah, and I like to have games as well.
I mean, I'm very on board with digital games on this Switch for just over everything else, because with that it's like you've essentially got infinite storage on the Switch because it's just SD cards that you can hot swap. But I kind of like, I've got a terabyte hard drive in my PS3, and I've got everything I've ever downloaded stored locally. But I'm kind of really worried about, like things like the PS4 and stuff, when the games are like approaching 40, 50 gigabytes each. And there's no way you can have like everything that you've bought like installed locally and stuff. And one day they're going to flip a switch and that whole like service is going to switch off. I'm not saying it's going to be anytime soon, but one day it will happen. And basically everything that you're left with that you haven't downloaded and got locally is going to be gone. And that does worry me a little bit.
Biggest concern for me, actually, if I'm honest with that, I don't like the idea of that because of kind of the loss of hard drive and things. That's why I kind of like to have physical copies. I think it holds more nostalgia with me, actually, holding a game and the history that goes with it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah.
Rather than having to download. I completely get it. You have a game on your doorstep, but I find majority of the time it's the same price as actually owning it. And like you say, system fails, they download. Also, things like GTA 5, that took about 3 years to download on the PlayStation. Was it the Xbox or PlayStation or both? I think I had it on the PlayStation. I was like, I have an hour's gaming, and I was looking at the loading screen going over. I was like, any time now.
Wait until you try Red Dead Redemption 2.
I've actually got that now.
Yeah.
You often hadn't loaded it then because you'd still be sitting there waiting for it to be done, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, I put it on Monday night, actually.
And I'm still waiting.
I put it on Monday night, actually, and it's not finished yet. Maybe someday soon.
Sean, do you do the digital stuff, or?
Do you know what? No, I really don't, mate. I prefer the physical side of it. From a gaming perspective, if you're just into the games, then fair enough, the digital, that suits you down to a T. But for a collector, it has to be a physical part of it,
Yeah.
There's just not like looking at your own collection on your shelves compared to looking at, a few thumbnails on your PS4 or whatever. There's just no comparison. So yeah, it's got to be physical. It's got to be.
Yeah. I'm very much the same. I mean, it's I'd much rather have it in my hand. Here we go again. But I'd just much rather have a physical copy of the game rather than the download. It's at the end of the day, it's no safer. You can lose a digital download quite easily. The same way that if you have a physical copy of a game, you can get damaged or the dreaded disc rot or whatever. Or the system stops working. So either way, it's one of those. But I just don't. If you own something, you want to be able to, see it or hold it. Or
there's another thing for me is on the PlayStation 3 at least. It's I've got an account on the US PlayStation Store, and it's like games like tNB and stuff like that, which would set you back £100 to buy physically. You can get on the PlayStation Store and play for $5. So there is that side to it as well. That's another thing that I tend to do.
Yeah, I can see the point in that, because some games are just so pricey, you're never physically going to own them anyway.
No.
And for that point of view, from a collecting point of view, and to play the game, then it is a way forward, but it's not what a route I would go down.
I mean, I suppose there's a market for it in things like limited run releasing games as well that have only been downloads to a point. And I think there's a lot in the actual retro community where I see in places like Facebook where you will have people who actually design and make retro cases. I've seen some cases made for certainly some Saturn games, and I think people have made cases to hold every 32X game, although you have to have a small fortune or been really ahead of the curve to actually own a full set of them. But
did anybody ever own a 32X game when they first came out?
I think they were used as to lift up the table legs if there was a bit of a crooked table, because I think they were giving them away with flu jabs at one point. So.
I've only ever seen them. I've never actually held one in my hands. So until I actually done that, I don't believe it's true. Yeah.
I would love one, to be honest. I've got a dream of having the Tower of Power, but I don't think it's ever going to happen.
No, I mean that was a thing of beauty, but that was just silly. There's no other word for it, just silly. Just release a proper console. Don't bring out this plastic add-on just to try and extend the life of the machine, which technically was, out of date then anyway.
You could probably sort of pinpoint the 32X as the beginning of the end for Sega, couldn't you?
Well, yeah, exactly. Sorry, that's exactly the stance I take on it, because at that point there, they just sort of went as a games as a console developer.
Yeah.
And that was it. I'm not going to talk about the Saturn.
Do you not think it's like the Megazord though for Power Rangers? Just put all the consoles together and make a giant one. You can just keep building up the Sonic and Knuckles until you reach the roof.
Get a Game Genie in there, and
yeah, exactly. Just to make it. Just like a massive Jenga of consoles you can do with your friends, or your rich friends anyway, because you had to be rich to afford one. But
yeah.
I've actually got a Game Genie for the Game Gear. I mean, can you imagine how stupid that's going to look? Walking around with that thing stuck out the top of your console.
Well, you could have that, and then you could put the Master System converter into that, and
I've got that.
A Master System game stick on top.
Yeah,
I've got that.
As well. Yeah,
converter, genius to all that. Really,
But yeah, and the TV tuner that went in it as well. I mean, goodness me, yeah. You're walking around with half of curry stuck in your hands.
Yeah, you need about 3 car batteries to power it all.
Hardly portable, was it?
Sorry.
I was going to say hardly portable, was it?
No, not at all. No. You came with a small carry case, which was it's given with a suitcase on wheels that you drag around.
I had a carry case for my, the old Game Boy, the brick Game Boy. And it had the shoulder strap, like a
yeah.
It held that, and it held the charger and a battery pack, and then about 6 games. And it was nearly as big as my school bag.
Oh dear, yeah. At least portable now is portable, as opposed to what they thought portables back then. In which case, you need to be sort of like Jeff Capes to carry stuff around with. But there we go.
Well, what we used to call a portable TV still weighed about 3 stone.
I know. Oh yeah. God.
Actually, fit it on the scales.
But we'll not talk about heavy TVs, though, will we?
Oh my God! Yes, we've we've completely blurred that out from my memories. Well, actually, you did all the hard work. I just brought it in the house.
It was surprisingly easy actually getting up the stairs.
Oh, it's just modest, aren't you? Yeah. Fit it in the car on your own. Yeah, it's so easy to get up the stairs.
Just a basic knowledge of physics. Got it up there. It was fine.
I thought it was a
So
winch.
you got it
Never
up
mind.
by yourself then, Pete, did you?
No, I did get someone to help me.
Mrs. Fighter.
It was like I got someone to help me, and it was more like moral support. I don't think he actually did anything. But
Bottom of the stairs cheering.
Yeah. You don't want to lift it like that, mate. You want to bend your knees, and
well, I strapped it to like a dolly, like one of the ones from IKEA, and that you like use them to carrying stuff around IKEA, but you can also buy them as well.
I thought you said a deli for a minute. I was like, what's that got to do with it?
No, the country. Country? What is it? New Delhi? I don't know.
I was trying to think of some Dole jokes, but we're trying to keep it clean. So
I strapped it to Dolly. She was only working 9 to 5, so it's okay. No, I strapped it to a trolley. We'll call it a trolley, but I don't want to say that to confuse any American people that might be listening, because that's a tram there, isn't it? But
it is. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I strapped it to a thing with wheels, and I sort of walked upstairs backwards, pulling it up, and it was surprisingly easy. So,
We'll take your word for it.
Trolley going up them steep stairs. Crazy.
It's the corner on those stairs that freaked me out. I was like,
yeah. That was like, well, the worst thing was I was sort of going up, sort of like sitting on the step, pulling it up, then sort of shuffling up to the next step, pulling it up. And I got to the top of the stairs, and I was like, I had no more steps to shuffle up. And if I let go of the TV, it would fall down the stairs. So I was like, I literally sat there for about 3 minutes just wondering what my next move was going to be. But I eventually got to my feet, and it was fine.
love a good CRT.
Yeah, so there's tips for getting a CRT in the loft if anyone needs it. We're already off topic.
Sound advice, that. Yeah. Right, guys, you went to Doncaster for the video gaming market.
We did.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you've been to one. You went to one at the end of last year as well, I think. So, I mean, for anybody who's listening who hasn't been to any of these sort of events before, what was it like as an experience for not only fans of gaming but also people on the hunt for things for collections, or just looking for a good day out with gaming involved?
It was fantastic, lads, wasn't it? I mean, the main thing for us particularly we're meeting everybody else. We met new people as well, which is always a good thing. But yeah, the social side of it, it was brilliant, wasn't it, lads?
It really was.
Yeah, so for me, starting a YouTube channel, I never kind of expected quite anything like this. I mean, I'd seen videos on Doncaster and pickups and people I've been watching for a long time before I actually decided I'd go into gaming and that. And Doncaster Market was just a way of kind of sort of buying things and getting things cheap, and it's like Portobello Road, really, and Mary Poppins, isn't it? You can find anything at Donny. But more now, it's now that you kind of meet people as you go along, it becomes sort of slightly different. It becomes more, as well as obviously going there to buy things, a social aspect of meeting people. I mean, for us, we all got there quite early, as you really need to at these things.
Some of us got there early.
Yeah, some of us just wandered in.
Some of us lost their car keys.
It's fashionably late. Leave the boy alone. But it's a case of just you go round and you just meet people. I mean, I think I spent the majority of the time there just chatting to people and didn't really come away with a lot. So
did they talk back to you? Talking to random people.
It kept trying to get my attention, didn't you, Nate?
They're just like, please leave me alone. Please go. I was trying to get like an autograph from a really popular YouTuber there, but I couldn't get past the cameras. So yeah.
I should like to point out that an entirely popular YouTuber couldn't be here tonight due to doing other slightly less important things.
Yeah, like bending over and weird things like that.
Yeah. They contractually obliged to another podcast, so we couldn't have them on tonight. So.
I said about that person better, I think.
Talk about off topic. Yeah. So I didn't get what I went for. To be no.
Anyway, yeah. Back on topic. Yeah.
I got one thing I went for, and that was that N64 controller. But before I went, I made a list, and I was going to stick to that list. And I got precisely one thing from it. So, and I spent £240.
That's an expensive thing.
Yeah. So, just going back, Nath, what did you go for that you didn't get?
I went with the intention. Well, I always make a list of things to go for, and then I make kind of a sub list, and then I have a sub list to that. And I went with the intention. I went with the intention of looking to try and acquire a PC engine, and the only one that I found looked like it'd been sunbathing its whole life. So it was nice and yellow, and it was pretty disgusting, to be honest. I think Eddie might have to fry it up and sort it out, but I went looking for that and a copy of Pandora's Tower on the Wii because I fancied getting something a little bit decadent for my Wii collection.
Pandora's Tower.
Unicorn.
That's an elusive one, that one. I've got a story about that. We're gone, so I won't interrupt yours, mate. Go on.
No, don't say. So I went looking for that and none of those turned up, so I thought, well, I'll find Sonic Adventure 2, and there was one copy that looked like it burned and one that was about twice the price I was expecting of. I mean, that's the thing, some of the stalls there are more reasonable than others, and you kind of have to go looking for stuff, but you'll often find stuff that you don't expect. So I did come away with some games and some bits that I didn't expect to find, and that's kind of the joy of it. You go with the intention of buying some and come back with something completely different, like Pete.
So if you spent £240, Pete, and you only got one thing on from your list, what else did you get?
I got the Philips video pack, the G7000, which I mentioned earlier, which was
because I don't know anything about that. So, I've heard of it, and it sounds to me like it might be one of these more obscure systems which people may not have heard of. So, what exactly is it?
It was known in the States as the Magnavox Odyssey 2.
That now sounds stupid. I've heard of that.
Well, it's basically it's a sort of an early microcomputer, but instead of taking cassettes, it took cartridges. And it was before I was born. I was born into a house which had that and a Spectrum, so that was really early memories of gaming for me.
That's 10 times cooler than my household when I grew up.
Here, I found a picture for you, Bear.
Sorry?
I said, here, I found a picture for you, Bear.
All right.
Never mind.
It doesn't have subtitles, this podcast,
It doesn't have images either, so.
Therein lies the joke. Never mind.
But I've been my mum threw. We had that until sort of the last 5 or 10 years ago, but my mum had a clean out and threw it all away, which is a bone of contention for me because that's all lost a lot of my stuff. And I came across it was a house clearance stall in Doncaster, and they had all kinds of things there, and I kind of took a punt because I didn't know if it was going to work or anything. Nothing was tested, but I got that and a bag of games for £50, which is not too bad. I don't know how much the going rate is for these things, but I'd seen them on eBay for 180. So
that sounds like a good deal to me. Yeah,
I think everyone seems to think I've done a good deal too. He said I'd done a good deal, so I said done a good deal. I asked him how much he wanted. He said 50, and I said yeah.
Yeah. So, would you take 49?
I really can't haggle. I'd probably offered him 60. So. But yeah, it's just a system that I grew up with, and I've been really sort of I've only just decided I wanted it back, and I got it back straight away. So I picked up another Terminator system, which I'm not going to get into now about what that is, but it's
Sim from the past, future, past. I don't know.
It's something from
I've never even heard of
Roundabout Now. It's like a Eastern European family clone, but it has history. It's not just a family clone. It's got cult status. But this one was bad. It's a Chinese one. It was just awful. So,
right.
Really serious buyer's remorse over that one.
Was it expensive?
It was £20.
Well, yeah.
Eddie seems to think I should have got it for 10, but like I said, I can't haggle.
Eddie can. Boy, can Eddie haggle.
Sorry, Sean, what?
Eddie, he can haggle.
Yeah, he haggles everything.
Not
I just feel cheeky when I'm doing it. I just can't do it. I don't have the social skills to do it. But yeah,
I'm weird on that, mate. I'm not very clever at it neither. I have a go. I like to try and have a go at least, but I usually just ask for a couple of pound, and that's about it. I don't really ask for a substantial amount, not like Eddie does.
No,
Sean,
he's the king of cheekiness, isn't he?
Sean smashed it out of the park, though, Sean. You say that. You actually smash it out of the park with the stuff you buy. So,
yeah, what was that? How much was that PC Engine?
Yeah. £5.
Jabby kid.
£5 off.
I thought you said it was £5.
It were up at 75. And what did I go in at? 60 or something like that. 65.
And he went in at 77, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Right.
So,
But
the thing is, I thought I was getting the game with that and all, and I didn't. So, but never mind.
I think you did well enough there.
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah.
And what did you pick up, Sean?
Soft toys. Lots of soft toys. I did really. I mean, there were them Space Invader plush toy things, and there were my Crash Bandicoot one, which I was chuffed to bits about. Nath, actually, you told me that somebody had bought one earlier. But they were bigger than one, wasn't it, Nath? But they're bigger than mine.
It was so big, but we're trying to keep it clean. The euphemism flying. Sean, you smashed it out of the park. You got all them cassette games for your C64. And when you weren't posting photo sets,
I didn't haggle for them.
You didn't need to be fair, they're throwing them away.
To be honest, I'm going to say they were really well priced as it was, so there was no need to haggle. But I do wish I'd have bought a lot more. I really do. I think I missed out, really.
When you're talking about not needing to haggle, it's like, I found a lot of the places I was like, it's like Dainster, he just gave me stuff. And Craig, from Craig's here again, I picked up 2 games for him that came to £11 and he gave me both for a £5. And I just didn't think I need to haggle.
Yeah.
That's called puppy dog eyes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just flashed him a bit of fire and it's fine.
I was trying to keep it clean, remember?
Oh, yeah.
That's the
I think
thing.
we're giving up on that.
That went out the window the first couple of minutes.
Not for children. This contains no swearing so far. Actually, just
no, we're actually doing well.
Yeah, we've just been dancing around it so far. Yeah. Everyone talking about how big they are. Yeah, that's it.
It's like a carry-on film, isn't it?
Yeah, and not a very good one, but there we go.
Should we talk Should we talk leaderboards and sub numbers though? No.
No, moving swiftly on. So definitely something that's worth checking out if there's one anywhere near you in the near future.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's one on again in December, I believe. Is it the 6th? So, is it the 6th? I have to check that now.
Yeah, the 6th of December, yeah.
6th of December, so So for anybody who does come across this, come along there and say hello to all the tNB who are there, because the more the merrier, really, isn't it?
It'd be nice if we could all make it, actually, because I think Rob's coming back again, so...
Indeed, so Russell the Retro there has to come along as well.
Yeah. It's a long way to go. No, I don't know. I mean, as I told you guys before, I felt a bit guilty about it. So, we'll have to see. I mean,
just jump in the car downstairs. I'm sure he'd be happy with it.
Oh, well, the thing is, he said he would have offered me a lift this time, but he said that because he's had so much stock to take up there, he wouldn't be able to get me in.
Yeah.
And, I'm not worth, sort of like, things not being sold, are they? So, I mean, it's, it's one of those things. Well, there'll be another time, another place.
Indeed.
And then they're all around the country as well, aren't they? They're dotted around the place,
Isn't there a London one this week or something?
London, isn't it?
It is indeed. London Gaming Market, I think, is this weekend coming. And
they've got one over by you, haven't they, Nathan? Norwich?
Yeah, I think I'm missing that one, to be honest.
Travel all the way down to Doncaster, but... sorry. But,
don't get the stuff on my doorstep, yeah. So, London Gaming Market is on the 15th of March, and Norwich Gaming Market, I think is the one you're referring to, that's not too far, is on 27th of June. But unfortunately, I'd be missing that one, I think.
I think
the one in Nottingham as well. So.
Nottingham's not far away, I think.
Yeah,
So I think somebody else mentioned that, and I know Birmingham is middle of July, I think, from what I've heard.
Are you making it to the Birmingham one this time, Ross?
Well, I went last time, and it was good apart from the fact they held it in the canteen.
Was it like 3 different rooms or something?
It was like putting the gaming cupboard and the gaming pantry next to each other and seeking 3,000 people in there, and some tables. It was and people with pushchairs. So I mean, it was an absolute crap venue. But they are moving it down the road to the rather wonderful sounding custard factory.
Oh,
Custard factory.
Yeah,
it's moving from the canteen to the custard factory.
Yeah. Step in the right direction.
Just get your custard directly from there.
That's it. Yeah. You get a free bowl of custard when you walk in.
You've probably got some in the pantry then.
There's all sorts in there. Marmalade, you name it, it's all in there.
Porridge, sandwiches.
It's like marmalade.
And porridge, yeah. And there's a nice comfy bed, not too hard, not too soft. I'll get all those in before you do. But yeah, the custard factory actually used to be the Birds Custard Factory in Birmingham, and it's now sort of like an art centre.
Right.
So it's a bigger venue than where they held it last time round, and I think most people are quite in favour of that. So hopefully we'll be better.
Yeah.
But, they're good events to go to. So if there are any on near you, and they are very well attended, they are getting very, very popular. It's the sort of thing that you can go to, and don't be put up by what people do say sometimes about the prices of things there, because don't be afraid to haggle. I would say
Definitely. Yeah.
Haggling's the way forward. No.
Yeah.
Even if you get stuff for free, Pete, I'm trying to get quid back.
If I go with Danish, I can make a profit.
Pay your admission.
Well, that's it. Yeah. Now, right.
Or just wondering.
Okay. So, what are we all playing at the moment, games-wise? Before we change the subject again to something drastically dirtier.
Sean, you take this one.
Recently, COD, Modern Warfare on PS4. That's mainly what I've been playing. I know it's
amazing.
Retro,
Is that a fish-based combat game?
It's a fishing game.
It's a fishing game. Sorry, Sean, go on.
It's all right, mate. What have I recently? I've done Metal Slug on the Pandora's Box, the arcade version. It took me about 100 continues to do.
I was going to say, you actually finished that.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Who finishes Metal Slug?
He's got more patience than I have with that bloody game, I tell you. Maybe cry.
It does take some doing, actually. You're just dying all the time. I mean, it's a really good game in its own right. And then I did Golden Axe. That was a response for Gurney's Fighting with 5 Lives. Dino plays. So yeah, that's what I've been playing. Oh, and Bonjack. I've been trying to beat Eddie's high score record. His high scored about 400,000, I think. Around about that area, and I'm managing about 210,000 at minute. So I've got a bit to go.
So it's going well then. Yeah.
It's going.
I mean, you mentioned the Golden Axe thing there. Obviously, that was Gernaldino Plays Fighting with 5 Lives series. That's a very good series. If you've not seen that on YouTube, I thoroughly recommend give it a watch because it's just a bit of fun. Everybody seems to join in with it. If you've got games.
Even better get involved with it because it's more the merrier with things like that. It's just a bit of fun, isn't it?
Well, that was it. I mean, there's a thing last year where we sort of doing the video responses and people would get involved in that and then sort of died off a little bit. And, Rob's trying to sort of do these series. They're first playing 10 years, Fighting with 5 Lives. And they're really, really good series. So, again,
he's on the Never Have I Ever Played one as well, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that one, yeah. No, but there's 3 different series you're trying to do at the same time. They're all worth a go. More people are joining, the more it'll take off, and that's a good way of getting involved in it.
It's all about just dusting games out of your library and, games that you might not play. It's just about rediscovering them, or discovering them for the first time, I'm guessing.
Mate, I've got games I'm never going to play.
Probably got undiscovered games in your cupboard as well.
Yeah. There's stuff I've got in, stuff I keep finding. I think, oh yeah, I've got that.
3001.
Yeah. Oh dear. What have you been playing, Nathan?
So, I have been catching up on some games that I need to finish because I have a horrible thing I do where I start a game and then don't finish the damn thing. So I have finally completed Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze on the Wii U, which is the best way to play it, not on the Switch because it makes it too damn easy. And yeah, I think if Sean used 100 lives, I probably used about 1,000 lives because, oh my days, it is a platforming game for those who haven't played it. Really, really graphically beautiful game, really great soundtrack, but by God, have you got to be good on your controls and things like that, like learning patterns and things like that. But finally finished the damn thing, and now I need to find something else to replace it with. But I've been playing that FX Unit Yuki. I've been playing when I pick up more games. I can just pick up. Sorry. And, FX Unit Yuki is a game I got sent by another YouTuber, Heza. It's in my last video. It's a game that was kind of a Kickstarter game, I think. Oh, yeah. And it was released over several systems, I think one being the Mega Drive. I believe it's on the PC Engine. I think there's a card for it on that. And I got one copy on the Dreamcast, so I've been playing that. And it is a 16-bit style game, but it takes inspiration, I think, from things like Mega Man and Castlevania and things like Cotton and things like that. So it doesn't take itself seriously, but it just kind of has all these elements from other games and kind of incorporates it into its own new style. That, and I've had Propeller Arena, another unreleased Dreamcast game, which I've been having a go on, which is effectively Crazy Taxi to the Sky. So I'm loving kind of these hidden games that were never kind of released, people don't know about, as well as playing sort of games that are sort of levels you can sort of play through. So I haven't really got into any massive RPGs, but been enjoying those for the moment anyway.
Oh, right. Is Propeller Arena the one where they cancelled it because of 9/11?
Yes, exactly. That's the one. So it was released. Well, it was never released. It was created by AM2, who, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they have a massive involvement in the Outrun series, certainly the later Outrun games.
It was like all the.
I thought you were going to say 9/11 then, but that's all right.
No, it was ready for release, but because of 9/11 and the controversy about that, it's a dogfighting game effectively. And it can be around a city or airfield or things like that. But because of the kind of controversy around that, they decided to pull the game. So there are full copies around through the internet, through various said sites, which people probably can find if they're so inclined. It's not. And yeah, the full game is actually there. So it is one that really, really should have been released. It's an amazing game. It just deserves it. So yeah, I recommend if people can find it to actually play it, or at least look it up.
Well, and Pete, what have you been up to?
Not
just now, but in general.
I was going to say, I've just been talking to you guys on a podcast. I've been playing Darksiders Genesis, which is a brand new game that's just come out. It's a chore. I'm going to put it that way. It's Darksiders is one of those series that I'm really stupidly invested in, and I love the first two games. They were like two of my favourite games, but the third one was terrible, and this one's not much better either. But I'm that invested in it that I have to sit through it. But it's one of those games that's like stupidly punishing, like the sort of the Souls games. And I get no pleasure from being punished. I don't know about you guys. It's like people go on about the challenge and everything, but I get no actual pleasure from that. I just get angry. And so I'm inching my way through that game because I can only play it for about an hour at a time before I get really angry at it. And what else?
Video game rage.
Yeah, that's it. I'm the only person in the world who can rage quit a single player game. Yeah, what was I playing? Sorry, mental block. I've seen the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, if that's any kind of on-topic thing there.
And was it any good?
It's better than it had any right to be, actually.
That means it's crap.
Yeah, but in a good way. It's crap, but all video game films are crap. It's one of the better ones.
Are you hating on Jim Carrey, Retro Bear?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
You say it's not as bad as other video game adaptations. I can't think of any good ones, to be honest with you.
Mortal Kombat.
Resident Evil?
No.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find a way of muting
Mario
your
Brothers
microphones
movie.
at the moment. Hang on, yeah. Oh, dear, yeah.
I actually genuinely, unironically love the Street Fighter movie as well.
Well, this will be the last time you'll be on here, anyway. Yeah.
Final Fantasy Advent Children, just throwing it in there.
Oh yeah,
Gotta have an anime.
That's
Come
the other thing I've been playing as well. The Final Fantasy 7 demo for the remake, and it is really good.
I'm just crossing this off a potential topic for the future. Video games based on films. No, not do that yet. You can do that one yourselves. No. I've been like Sean. I've been playing a bit of Golden Axe lately because I just love that game, but I'm absolutely terrible at it now. And that's what I'm going to get onto in a second. I've also got a real sort of feeling at the moment for like rubbish PlayStation 2 racers. I don't know what it is, but like things like Ford Racing and Ford versus Chevy, and that one I bought the other day, Downtown Run. They're all absolutely awful.
There's one on the Wii, Land Rover Ford, is it?
Yeah, I've got that.
Yeah, it's actually really good. You've got that, have you?
Yeah.
You've only got a few Wii games there.
2002.
Yeah, just the 6 I think I've got. But, hang on, 600. I'm reading that wrong. Yeah, but I've not. There aren't that many games to the racing games to the Wii that I sort of immediately jump out and sort of say there's lots of them. I thought there'd be more than there were.
Yeah, especially with the wheel attachment.
Yeah, so a lot of rubbish PlayStation 2 races, Golden Axe, and Super Tennis on the Super Nintendo.
It's got to be super if it's on the Super Nintendo, isn't it?
Oh,
yeah. And I'm super rubbish at it, I tell you. It's, again, but this is what I'm sort of move on to now, mentioning Golden Axe. Do you find now that you are any better at games or any worse than you were when you were younger?
The games from my youth are so hard now. It's crazy. I don't know if it's just my reaction time's growing as I get older or something, but I can't. Games I used to just be able to polish off, I just can't do now. I can remember like getting at least halfway through Ghouls and Ghosts when I was younger, and now I can't get off the first bit.
So basically, like everybody else.
Yeah.
But I found that with Golden Axe 2. I mean, I had Golden Axe 2 on the Mega Drive when I was in my late teens, and I could play through that and literally complete it with my eyes shut, or basically take my glasses off so it make it a bit harder. But I played it the other day, and it's like I never held a joypad before. It was ridiculous,
That's why I stopped doing, we mentioned earlier the response video to Gurney for the Golden Axe thing. Golden Axe, the first one, is a game that I will claim to be very good at that game. And I was playing it, and I was losing a life, straight away. And I was just getting mad at myself. Yeah. It's like a couple of weeks ago I played through it without, with easily under 5 lives. And then I went to actually record myself doing it, and I was just getting so mad at myself because I was really just failing at that game. But
do you have the problems with the skeletons like I do?
Yeah, the skeletons are... Oh, I nearly swore then.
Yeah, yes. I was trying to find a way to describe them, without sort of going into a full-on rant. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. That is exactly what I was coming up against the other day, and I thought, Joe, no. I never used to be this bad. What about you? What about Nathan? What about Sean? What do you think?
Sean, I'll let you go.
I'm same as Pete. I'm just no good at them no more.
They're coming for you.
Broadcasting live from Strange Ways.
I'm not bad at games playing, honest.
It's like cops.
It's that bloke you knocked the price down on the PC Engine who's found out where you live.
£2. He wants his £2 back.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sean.
But yeah, I'm exactly the same as Pete. It's like you say, your reaction times must wither away as you get older, because I just can't do them no more. I mean, especially the older games, like the newer games. I'm not too bad on actually. And Shenmue, I'm quite good on that.
What one?
Shenmue.
No, that's still not getting it.
Shenmue.
Look, I've been calling Toy Show for ages, where they're called. I don't know what they are. Tatio. Yeah.
Taito.
I would they grow in the ground.
They do in your part of the world, mate.
You are.
I was watching one of the video from Dylan, and he was on about when you upend your TV, and I always called that Tate mode. Apparently, it's Tate. But to me, it's always been Tate.
Tate, yeah, I've heard people say Tate mode.
I think we've just been pronouncing these things. We've just been pronouncing these things wrong for years, haven't we?
Yeah.
Someone's going to turn out and say Sega is actually Saga.
That's what old people go for. Why can't you say it like?
It's Sega, isn't it, Sean?
Yeah,
It's Sega, mate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh
Sega.
my days!
Or, the GameCube is now going to be the GameCube. I just don't understand where it comes from. I mean, ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous.
See, I like the older games. I've been making it a bit of a bucket list to finish off some of these games that I couldn't do as a child, because I look back on them now and you can see like all the playthroughs you can watch on YouTube and be like, oh, that's what the ending looks like, and I was just about like half a level away from it and just never could finish it. But some of the older games, like some of the Master System games, I just really, really wanted to finish. And I made it my mission to finish like Alex Kidd and Sonic 1, because I never finished those as a child. And then like 20 years later, maybe a bit more, I bought the console back.
Person ever to beat Alex Kidd.
Yeah, I finally finished Alex Kidd, like not being a kid anymore. I'm an adult and I beat Alex Kidd. So that makes it all the better. But I think modern games have, well, except maybe Dark Souls P, modern games have more of, I think they want you to kind of complete it, or they'll kind of help you through, or things like that. Whereas with those games, it's like you play for what maybe felt like an hour as a kid, but it's maybe 20 minutes in reality. And then it's like game over and you're like, oh, I'll go and play outside now.
some of them old game, 8-bit games, they're brutal.
Oh, yeah.
They really weren't made for completing at all.
Well, they used to make them hard, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to make they used to make them like especially hard because they didn't want you to just rent the game and finish it in one night. So it was to force people to actually buy the game to get good at it enough to actually beat it. That's why they made the games hard, apparently.
Or they were broken like Jet Set Willy, and they just made it up that you couldn't finish because they didn't burn it properly. Or E.T.
I used to love Jet Set Willy.
I can't get past the first room. Some games, that one is impossible.
I used to be quite good at it. We used to have it on the Spectrum, and that and Manic Miner, and I was quite good at both of them.
Well, given the current climate and the transport ban, he'd just be called Willy now, wouldn't he? That's a joke that will probably stand the test of time, I'm pretty sure of it anyway.
Quarantine Willy.
Yeah, I'm going to say isolated Willy, isn't it?
Hope he's got a lot of toilet roll.
Well, that's where it's all gone. Yeah. But no, I mean, it's. I think games. What you mentioned there about games being brutal when you were a lot younger. I think the games developers have made them not easier, but more straightforward to complete by giving you, unlimited continues and people now play old games and go, what? I've got one life. I've been struck by something. I'm dead. That's it. Game over. But that's how it was back then. They were completely brutal. But the thing was, of course, games then were designed to, the cheap games, the budget games were there to give people gaming on a budget. And if they couldn't afford the more expensive titles, so some of those titles were brutal for probably a good reason.
Yeah.
I think that's what made them kind of classics in people's eyes, though, because it was like it's like some of the older games that they can't complete, people just kind of kept them because they would spend hours and hours and hours doing and then build up a nostalgia for that actual game as a result of it.
Yeah, everyone agrees with that, yeah.
There's certain games though, like Sonic 2 for instance, I could get at least up to like the Metropolis zone probably with one hand. But it's other games.
Why one hand? Just out of interest.
Which hand?
Who's lowering the tone now? But yeah, it's like certain games have just got ridiculously hard over time. Like Metal Slug I mentioned earlier.
Unless Sean smashed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a great affinity for the old games and the new games. Do you prefer the older style games, or are you much more attuned to the current games that we play at the moment?
Well, I think I'm probably the only one who really plays current games.
I buy current games, I just don't play them. 303.
See, I buy old games.
Yeah, it's the same here, to be honest.
But I've always stayed current, and there's like stories that I'm invested in, so that's why I shell out far too much money on newer games. But I don't know. I just love games.
Mm. Well, I'm a massive games fan. So for me, it's like a mixture of both. I mean, some of the old games you go back and you have great memories of, and they aren't so good anymore. And then some of the ones that come out recently and you're not quite sure about them, you get quite into them.
Yeah.
I think with myself, I'm more going towards the retro stuff because the older games are more ones that you can kind of pick up, play for half an hour, put down, and I do like some of the newer ones. I like the development that goes with it, but some of them just don't have the same appeal.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean, I do prefer the older games, to be honest. Left, right, jump. That
I haven't played that one.
It needs to be as easy as that for me.
It's a Wii game, isn't it?
That's just Mario, isn't it?
But yeah, I mean, even though the newer games, they're more realistic, they're probably a little bit more fluid with control. Sometimes there's just too many controls, too many buttons. Honestly, the amount of times I'm pressing the wrong button because I just don't get a clue what my fingers are doing.
I can completely relate to that, but also, that makes us sound incredibly old, but we are, aren't we? So I suppose that's what it is. But yeah, as soon as the game started, as Sean says, it started adding more buttons to it. It became slightly more complicated, and arthritis kicks in, and then your hand-eye coordination just isn't what it used to be. And you just end up learning like 2 or 3 buttons that will get you through a game.
I tend to rely on muscle memory. It's like, if you try and remember which buttons are where on every single controller, it's just a nightmare. But I do tend to just sort of not look at the controller, figure out where to put my hand to do certain things, and then just rely on muscle memory.
Just for the N64 controller, that was.
Oh, yeah.
What a nightmare
Where
that
do
was.
I put my hand on that?
Yeah. that controller was designed after a cheese-induced nightmare. I mean, whoever came up with that controller just needs
I love it.
slapping. Really?
No, I love it. I love that controller. It was so good. So you had to hold it in the middle and then hold your right hand on the right side of it. The left side, they could have just chopped that off. Nobody needed that. Nobody needed the left trigger on the D-pad. It was absolutely useless. But the rest of it, love it. That's the first one that had a trigger, wasn't it? If I remember correctly, the first one that had like a trigger underneath.
I believe so. Yeah, it wasn't an analog trigger or anything, but it was.
I think was it?
It was defined as a trigger and not just a button.
Yeah, exactly. That was
it was
the
on the
first one to have a
left-hand
trigger.
side, which is stupid because who shoots with the left hand? But it was a trigger.
Us lefties.
Didn't realise you were a lefty. They're saying that Link from Legend of Zelda is a lefty, so obviously they've got left-handers in mind in Nintendo.
Yeah, that's why I'm a lefty, obviously.
Just wanted to be like Link.
Oh, that's it. Before I knew what Link was, I just knew. Sort of named.
I mean, this sounds like a really stupid question, but does that affect your gaming at all, Nath? At all? Because I presume when games developers have these things in mind, they're developing these things. They're developing people who predominantly may be right-handed.
No, because I'm ambidextrous when it comes to gaming, to be fair. I mean, I use a mouse the correct way, if there is a correct way. And gaming, you just kind of learn it, really, don't you? And it's just writing and things like that. You kind of learn to get comfortable with that. But no, gaming's absolutely fine.
Yeah, like I said, that might be the equivalent of me asking you if you can count up to 3, but I wasn't quite sure.
Yeah, I'll go 3, 2, 1 because I'm left-handed, don't I?
Really good at reading Japanese, though.
Oh,
so
no,
joke just went straight over. They read the books from back to front, don't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
Well, that just spoils the ending.
They already know what's coming.
Memento style.
It's like, how do we get here? Oh, that's right. Yeah, I've never understood that either, but there we go. Would games be more fun if they were made that way? Start at the end and work your way backwards?
That's kind of what Uncharted does.
Is that an actual question?
It can be if you want it to be. I'm running out of questions here. Better start asking anybody what they're doing tomorrow night. I don't know. Yeah, anyway, moving on to that one. But I mean, would that work if you started play the game backwards?
People do speed runs of that, don't they? Playing the game backwards and like not being able to do something, like finish a game without actually killing everyone when it's a game that you have to shoot people.
Okay, well, that's my idea for a sub-series gone. Hang on, Playing games backwards. Yeah.
Completing Sonic the Hedgehog without actually doing a spin move, I think, something like that, or without jumping.
How is that even possible?
How have they got time to do it? I have to work.
Yeah. Some people don't. Like people who get famous on Twitch and stuff. They can do things like that. We actually have to exist in the real world.
I think I prefer it here. Yeah.
The reality.
Yeah, sort of bites, really. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how people have time to sit there and do all these things, and you say do speed runs, and also how do people actually come? It's still an interesting thing which just sprung to mind, and you may completely disagree with this, but how do people actually work out the cheats and the sort of shortcuts in games?
They're in the back of magazines.
But they get in the magazines eventually, but how do they get there? Who knows these things, or who spends time finding these things out? I've always been fascinated by that.
Developers give them out.
No, I've heard stories of like people I've heard stories of like people in arcades like playing Mortal Kombat and stuff, and just spending hundreds upon hundreds of dollars just we're trying to work out like the finishing moves and things like that. I suppose it's just down to perseverance.
But I mean, those of us who played games ages and ages, I'm talking about the tape sort of game generation where you'd have to sort of like type something in before you started. If you had a Commodore 64, you'd have to like put was it called a poke, wasn't it? I think it was.
Yeah.
And you'd sort of type loads of code in, and then it would set this up there. Or if you typed a certain thing on a loading screen, that would get a cheat or something would be activated, like the infinitive lives or whatever. Yeah. But how do people know that? Who's been the first person to find that? You don't just sort of buy a game and start typing random crap into a keyboard in case something happens.
That's a good question, actually.
Rest in peace, Konami Code guy. I can't remember his name now. It's dreadful. I think
Must have
meant a lot to you then.
Mr. Konami. Sorry?
Yeah. It must have meant a lot to you then.
He did. His name was
yeah.
Up, down, left, right. I think for some of them, because I, back from the day, knew somebody who actually did some game testing, and there were codes that were actually built into the game by some developers because they actually, for testing purposes, had to get to like later levels in the game, so they put them in there. I think potentially these were sold to game magazines later on to actually give out, because there's all kind of helpline codes and things like that with game walkthroughs and things, and they made money off it that way. So I think that is potentially one of the resources. Don't quote me on if they sold them. They might have just sold them on a black market from these things.
I should point out that the views of Nathan Retro don't represent the views of this particular podcast in this particular page. We are not legally obliged or sort of responsible for any of the comments he makes here.
We don't have anything detailed like that on my channel. But
they used to like Sega. I think it was Sega used to have a hotline where you could ring up for cheats as well.
Yeah.
So that was obviously straight from the horse's mouth. So
I rung that a few times. It was not the Sega hotline. There were a lot of women working there, I tell you that. Yeah.
That's Babe Station, mate.
I'm going back further when you used to have to dial a telephone number to listen to it. Yeah, anyway, move on quickly on from that one.
Dear Lord.
No, there's no point in asking me, mate, we're past that point now, it's gone, yeah.
No, but I don't know, with some cheat codes that definitely were through the helpline number, so I guess it's an extra form of revenue for them, to be honest. But I guess magazines actually had to buy them from somewhere, because I don't think there's some poor guy stuck in a cupboard somewhere just working them out.
I kind of wish there was now.
Whipping away, it's like, find the code.
He's like Gollum from Lord of the Rings.
Slave labor.
I haven't seen daylight since 1989.
What's happened to cheat codes as well, though? Because you just don't get them anymore.
No, you don't.
All those blokes who've been living in cupboards have been dying. No oxygen, no sunlight for 30 years. Have all died out.
Liberated. They got liberated.
Yeah.
They're all living in subterranean layers, just waiting to rise up and overthrow us all.
They're intelligent, aren't they?
Well, they're trying to figure out the blood code from Mortal Kombat before they can do anything violent.
Probably working on the new Xbox system.
Probably, yeah. It does look a little bit like that thing from 2001, actually.
That's exactly what I said. It's an absolute.
But I suppose, really, and just, sort of being slightly serious at the moment, what Pete said there was, you don't see them anymore now. And is that because when they make games now, they give you the infinitive lives or the respawning, that you don't need cheats like that to go into a game?
Can possibly be.
Yeah, it could
I
be.
think they probably get rid of them as well, so they can't be exploited online and things. If you're like playing like a deathmatch or anything, you can't just give yourself unlimited lives and win every time.
I think what they've done is kind of replace things with Easter eggs sometimes rather than that, because you'll find things like developers in, I think, the Fallout games will put in kind of references to other games and things like that. There's like Indiana Jones ones and other kind of various things. I can't remember them all, to be fair. But they'd rather put things like that in there from developers and things like that. I think that's more the way things have gone rather than cheat codes. So there'll be little kind of caveats they stick in there rather than actually cheat codes. Because, like he says, I mean, you don't really need cheat codes anymore. Games are much easier, in my opinion. And,
they really are.
Yeah, and it's more going online as well.
We've got strategy guides and all now, haven't we? I know you have to buy them, but they kind of can help you along as well. The strategy guides.
I've always wondered
I think
what
they
a strategy
actually
guide
include little hints and stuff, don't they, as well? In them.
Yeah, there's enough tutorial levels and stuff to get you through it. I always wonder what a strategy guide for like Call of Duty would say.
Shoot.
Run, shoot.
Amazing.
You just spent £50 on this, and in a year it'll be 50p.
Call of Duty is. Oh, I'll just rant about Call of Duty. The reason I stopped playing Call of Duty was when I played, I think... Yeah, well, basically. But I think the last one I played was World at War. I think it was me against one other person in the map, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to go get him. And I shot him, and he laid on the floor and shot me. He was like laying on the floor with a pistol, like bleeding out, shooting at me. I was like... How is that even fair?
I'm really sorry that happened. I'm really sorry that happened. Let's get it out of your system.
Yeah, I'm still mortified by it. Like,
I think I've only ever played Modern Warfare online, and I was just very, very bad at it. So that was my career over.
Probably Shawley shot me, to be fair.
Yeah. You see, I thought I'd be crap on that Modern Warfare. I'm not too bad, actually, considering Joe's better than me, actually. She was pretty well on it. But, I don't mind it, actually. But I've only just got into it, you see. So I'm quite late into the party with that.
I was going to say a nice early adopter there, right? I think I just kept dying. I was letting my team down. People were shouting at me, saying they were doing horrible things to my mum and stuff. And it was like it was like being at school and getting picked for football, and then being bad at it and everyone getting mad at you again. It was like just a flashback to being crap at sports at school.
I remember the first trolling session I had, like, online with some guy. I think I was playing a game called Battlefield 2 on the PC back in the day when it was free. You could play it on the PC, and that is a game where you can just use everything. You see a tank, you can drive it. You see a plane, you can fly it. And starting out on the game, I think I just managed to get like a Harrier jump jet and fly, and I was like, this is great. I can't fly the damn thing, but I'm flying around. And I flew straight into another plane. It killed both of us, and the kid was like, oh, you're rubbish at this, I bet you can't dogfight. And I was like, bet your mum can. And everyone just ripped into him, absolutely ripped into him. Absolutely amazing when you can do that. And I think that's part of the fun of like playing online, is just ripping into people a little bit, to be fair. It's when you get these little kids that get so angry.
The most masterful art of like trolling somebody on an online game, and I don't even know what it was another like warfare one. And there was like somebody who was like a soldier, and then there was somebody else who was a medic. And they kept shooting this guy, and then the medic could revive him before he had a chance to respawn. And the guy would shoot him again. and it was just going on for ages. I've no idea what game it was, but it was hilarious.
That was Battlefield. Was it
Battlefield?
Yeah. You'd get two guys
brilliant.
who were friends on opposite teams, and they'd just troll this poor person. They'd have a countdown to respawn, and they would count down to like 1. They'd sort of go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, zap. Shit.
It was absolutely brilliant. This guy was screaming. He was great.
That's I think that's been made into a little video somewhere on YouTube. I think it's a German kid smashing his keyboard to smithereens as a result.
I think that was probably the one I watched, actually.
But yeah, trolling online. Don't troll people. It's mean.
I'm a little bit guilty of like griefing people on Mario Kart, though. I'll hold my hands up to that one. Me and my wife, we play on Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. We used to anyway. I don't even know if the servers are still up. But
I should hope so. I bought that the other week.
Well, I'll see you online then, Ross. Well, yeah, you can play 2 people on the same console, and you can always tell when there's 2 people on the same console because the names will be together on the list of players, and there'd always be like someone like Maisie and then Dad underneath, or Daddy. And so you know that Maisie was like 6 years old, and we would just absolutely destroy the hell out of that little kid. So Maisie, if you're listening, oh sorry.
Yeah, it won't have scarred her for life. I wouldn't worry about it. So
No,
Which doesn't drive now. Doesn't drive anymore.
yeah.
I hope it was a daughter and father anyway. It wasn't just some kind of kink.
It's funny because that copy of Mario Kart I did actually buy today has got Maisie inscribed on the inside.
Was there any bloodstains?
Just obviously had enough to just give it away. Yeah.
A suicide note on the inside in the instruction booklet.
It's on the back of the receipt, you know.
This has got dark, hasn't it?
So, Sean, how's your gaming online going?
It's good, mate. It is. Honest.
I must be honest with you. It's not something I've ever really got into. Gaming online.
No.
Gaming. If you got mates around you and playing games and things like that, that's good fun. But I sort of see gaming as, not to say solitary experience, but it's something you do on your own.
You should open a whiskey then, eh?
Maybe.
No, I'm a massive champion of couch co-op, but I think there's only a handful of games I've ever played online. There was Mario Kart, there was Motorstorm, I used to love that. And
oh yeah, that's a good game. Good game.
I had the original Team Fortress on the PC, back before broadband was a thing. I used to play that quite a bit at my friend's house, and I was actually really good at that. But apart from those 3 games, I've never had any interest in playing online, simply because I'm bad at it, and people will get mad at me, and then I'll get mad at myself.
Then you force young girls to commit suicide.
Yeah. It's a downward spiral.
Mate, I live out in the sticks, so I'm normally dead and find out about it 5 minutes later. It's like, oh, I've been shot.
I was surprised you got broadband out that far.
Stand on the roof with an aerial.
Still playing Call of Duty Online on 56k downloads.
Yeah.
This console's powered by a hamster and a wheel.
It's Dark Souls mode, okay? Makes it more of a challenge.
Right, so we've covered quite a bit on this first episode. So, is there anything anybody else would like to bring up, that sort of conversation topic they want to sort of throw out there? And moving swiftly on. You weren't expecting that, were you? No.
Until next time.
Until next time.
You said no curveballs, Russ.
No, it wasn't a curveball, but it's at the end of a sort of discussion, it's like any other business, or is anything you want to sort of talk about, or subject you want to bring up that I haven't bothered writing down. I don't know. So
we have the rest of our lives.
I think we'll save those kind of conversation topics for episode 2.
Yeah. I'd like to say, basically, if anyone is like, because this will just be going out in video form, this first episode, for now anyway. So if anybody wants to comment with any topics they want us to cover in the future, then please do.
That would be a very good idea, because it will certainly be
Do
a
the work
challenge.
for us.
It'd be a challenge, wouldn't it? Yeah. What are your favourite Japanese games? Well, I'm out.
I actually am really big on Japanese games at the minute. So
Most of the games we get are from Japan, aren't they?
Yeah, at the minute, yeah.
Call of Duty. There we go.
But yeah, that's a very good point. I mean, if there's anything that you'd like to hear us talk about, then if anybody wants to leave a comment in the description below, we'll obviously have a look at those and see if anything crops up, and if we know anything about it, even better.
Yeah, maybe in the future, maybe set up an email address for this. People can sort of message in. I am going to work on. I mean, we're going to have a couple of episodes just on YouTube, aren't we? But I am going to work on getting this hosted as a proper podcast in the next couple of weeks. So if there's any kind of platforms that anybody uses to listen to things that would like me to upload this on, then also let us know. So I'm going to start off on Podbean and iTunes, and just anything else that anybody wants to listen to this on. If they don't use those two, then let us know, and I'll do my best.
That'll be fantastic. That'll be really good. And if, like we said, if it takes off, it'll be fantastic to do, because I think we've had a lot of fun today, guys.
Oh yeah,
indeed.
We have, mate. We have.
With a good laugh. We've got some good subjects, and hopefully this will be the basis of how the rest of them will go.
And I hope everyone's learned something.
Yep, I've learned to never speak to you three ever again.
I've learned to come to terms with the death of a small girl.
It's all part of the healing process, Pete.
Right,
and I've learned that I love whiskey. There we go.
Yeah. Is there any particular brand you like to mention, just in case anybody's listening?
What have I got? What have I got? Whiskey review. We have tonight an Arbor and a Dalwhinnie Distillers Edition. There we go. For anyone who actually knows what they are.
I'm sure that'll mean something to somebody.
Indeed.
I'd like to love Freud.
You like what?
Just Sigmund
I'd
Freud.
like to love Freud.
Maybe I'll have that for the next one.
Maybe.
Does that mean we have to put on this video? It's got product placement in there or some product endorsement.
We're trying to get a sponsor.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Send me your samples. Send me your samples. I will review them while we talk.
I'm surprised you're not drinking, Sean, actually. I thought you'd be on the rum chatter.
I haven't got none left, mate. I'm afraid I'm all out of rum chatter. And as you know, it's past my bedtime and I needed something to keep me awake. I'm normally in bed for 7.
It's 20 past 9. Are you doing okay?
Like, I didn't worry about you falling asleep halfway through.
So it's 20 past 9. Are you doing all right, Sean?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh, no.
Right, well, in that case, guys, I think we'll wrap this up. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for everybody coming and joining us to do this chat. It's been really good fun. We all enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I hope
really
everybody out there who's been listening to this, wherever you may be, whatever you've been doing, maybe not that one, you've enjoyed it as well, and it will entice you to come back and listen to the next episode. As I mentioned at the start, we are all got our own YouTube channel, so what we'll try and do as these are going on to YouTube to start with is put our the descriptions for the channel links in the descriptions. That's how it works, isn't it? I don't know. I do this every bloody week. Why am I getting this so bloody horribly wrong now? Right. So we'll put those in there. I'd like to thank Pete42.
Thank you.
Nath Retro 1.
Thank you.
And Sean from Retro Games Revived.
Thank you very much.
No, it's my pleasure. My name is Russell. I am the Retro Bear. And we will speaking to you once again very, very soon. In the meantime, do take care. And from everybody here, bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.